Hi, welcome back to Everyday Behavior. My name is Mary Ann Shepard, and I'm happy to be bringing you this series this month on goal setting and objectives. Specifically, this series is targeting goal setting and objectives for individuals with severe and profound intellectual disability, for autism, for social skills deficits, or for behavioral challenges. So we're really talking about how do you set appropriate goals for your IEPs for those children that maybe, or for the behaviors that maybe aren't captured in your core curriculum or your state standards. And so we're talking about those other goals that are often very socially valid to parents and to families that make a huge impact on a child, but aren't necessarily counting or adding or naming their ABCs. So they're more functional life skills type goals. They're goals that have what we call a high level of social validity. What exactly is social validity? So social validity is that the goals impact their social functioning either at home or within the school setting or out in the community. So they're meaningful to the family. An example of a socially valid goal is that the child will be able to engage in a tabletop activity independently for 5 or more minutes. Why is that socially valid? Well, many of you who are teachers or parents, that makes intuitive sense. But think about if you're a mom or a parent and you're trying to make dinner, or if you're trying to maybe just run to the restroom or take a shower. If your child doesn't have independent play skills, if you can't set them at a table and they can independently engage in an activity for 5 minutes, then you never get a 5-minute break. So that means on the weekends or at night, there's never a 5-minute break where the child can engage in what we call a leisure activity for 5 minutes. This is really important because sometimes children that lack play skills just walk around the house dumping their toys or scattering toys or engaging in pacing or maybe climbing and jumping in that sensory type play. And so prior to being able to engage in leisure type activities such as a block activity or a coloring activity, they just run around the house engaging in sensory play, which then involves dumping the milk out on the floor, dumping the eggs out on the floor, jumping off of furniture, engaging in dangerous behaviors. So you can see by teaching a child how to engage in 5 minutes of tabletop play is really important for that child to be able to sit still and learn some basic play skills, but it's also incredibly important or impactful to the family to be able to have that 5-minute activity. And for you as a teacher, it's also incredibly impactful for you to be able to set a child down at the table to engage in an activity while maybe you help another student or during transition times when maybe they're not going through direct instruction, to give them a leisure activity. So what we're really talking about here are goals that are considered socially valid or are keystone skills. So what is a keystone skill exactly? A keystone skill or a keystone behavior is a behavior that unlocks other behaviors. So you can't learn to add before you've learned your numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So until you can count, you can't really add, and until you can add, you can't necessarily subtract. Now, there are always exceptions to the rule, but typically before you can add, you need to have the behavior of being able to count first, right? Well, before you can speak or before you can label objects, you need to be able to have imitation. And so first you need to be able to imitate physical behaviors. So clap your hands, touch your head, touch your nose, go. Okay, and so they need to be able to imitate those physical things of gross motor or fine motor gestures. Once you can get that, then you can start imitation of sounds. Okay, so if they can go, then you can teach them to go and if you can teach them to go then you can teach them to go milk, money, monkey. You know, you can start building on that sound. And you can start working on b, k, d. And so you can start working on some of those imitations of sounds. And then once you can work on imitations of sounds, then you can work on imitations of words like book, milk, toy, iPad. And so when you're looking at goals, and again, a lot of the goals that we're talking about this month are those keystone type goals. What are those foundational goals? So that's what we're going to be talking about this month. So a lot of the skills are going to be very basic introductory skills targeted towards those kids with severe, profound intellectual disabilities that are not captured through your core curriculum or your state standards. And so we're talking about almost pre-kindergarten skills, okay? And we're talking about what exactly do you need in your goals and objectives and how can you incorporate those. In addition to those basic skills, we'll also be talking about your social skills and your behavioral cusps, or those behavioral things that you need in order to achieve other goals when it comes to behavior. I look forward to presenting all of this to you this month. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.